All right, happy Thursday, everybody. We're back. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, along with Rob Ellis Barrett, off today, and joining us right now. He's like a regular, man. He is like our guy.
Boom.
He's like our third or fourth guy. He does an excellent job covering the Giants.
Every time I'm here, there's weather, man.
I know, right?
Look at
First
this
of
dude.
all, look, we got to start with the outfit, man.
Look at this.
You got the killer. Is that we have a scarf? Are we rocking a scarf?
The tie, the
And
umbrella.
that tie is strong.
I was on Sports Center probably about 2 minutes ago live.
Okay.
And now I go straight to you guys. So that's how we're. It's a busy week, you know, guys. There's a lot going on around here.
Isn't it mandatory you guys have to wear ties on ESPN?
Nah, I don't think so. Not so much anymore. You can go other ways. I wore a turtleneck the other day to the game.
Okay.
Turtleneck season. I got requests from people in the Giants organization for me to wear the turtleneck again because they think it's good luck.
Okay. All right, so we're glad you have the tie on then. Let's be clear about that.
We'll see Sunday. We'll see Sunday. Might bring something. I don't know.
I hear you. We appreciate you toughing it out with the bad weather. You're working the umbrella and the phone in one hand, and we can see the smoke. You're a gamer, man.
You're a mercenary, dude.
You are a gamer. I'm telling you right now.
Even more so. They bring in pizza here at the Giants facility every Friday for the media, and I came out here and had to bypass my pizza in the meantime, at least for the time being, to come and talk to you guys. So I'm making real sacrifices.
Okay. Hey, Rob's going to send you pizza, man. I promise.
That's right. That's right. I know where you're at. We'll make this happen. We will make this happen. All right, Jordan. So let's start with this, man. Obviously, the Giants played very well last week. It is not easy to go on the road in the playoffs and win a game, man. And they did it. And they did it in pretty impressive fashion. Just give me the takeaways for you. What looked maybe better than you thought? Obviously, Daniel Jones plays amazing in the defense, and especially the defense on Justin Jefferson after that first quarter. But what really stood out to you and was the impetus for that win?
Well, you start with Daniel Jones. I mean, he was great. I don't know how you watch that game and you're not impressed and be like, okay, Daniel Jones is pretty good. Like, I mean, he's been like this now for pretty much the whole season. The last 9 weeks, especially, the offense is running through him. He's been their best player. And I know people want to be like, well, Saquon. No. Daniel Jones has been their best player, okay? It's really that simple. Right. And the key in that game was that their offensive line held up and did a really good job. Yeah. Daniel Jones faced 0 pressures when he threw the ball in the first half last week. 0 pressures. If the Giants can do that, of course, it makes life a lot easier for the quarterback. Now, I don't know if the Eagles are going to be so friendly to Daniel Jones and the Giants offensive line. And the matchups aren't quite as good with the Giants receivers against the Eagles, secondary. But still, that was an encouraging performance. This team is now, their confidence is through the roof. I mean, they're operating this week as if, just in a businessman-like manner. That is pretty impressive, and you're like, there might be something here going on. So, it definitely, I definitely think that they will play a good game against the Eagles, and they're probably going to play a real tight game with them. And I said that last time. First time I told you the Eagles were going to spank them. So I've been spot on the first 2 times. This time I foresee a tight game between these 2 teams.
Hey, Jordan, how surprised were you that Martindale didn't blitz as much against Kurt Warner as we're accustomed to seeing him blitz? They decided to drop more people back in zone in coverage. I thought that was a little bit surprising considering what we expect from Wink every game.
Oh, yeah, I did too. I was very surprised that he went that route. The Giants actually played a lot more zone in the second half of the season. And you thought, okay, that was because their personnel was limited. Okay, what are they going to do when they get their guys back? They got Adoree Jackson back. Xavier McKinney's back. Those 2 guys didn't play against the Eagles last time, remember? That's partly why that game was such a blowout. The Giants were pretty beat up at that time. That Giants team was in bad shape coming into that game. They really had no chance. They're in much better shape physically and, just overall how they feel about themselves right now. So I was very surprised. I think you're going to see a little of that in this game as well, because we've seen it more from Wink Martindale throughout the season as we went along here, even though the Giants still blitzed at a league-high 42%. You have seen them play more zone, so I do think we're still going to see that mixed in against this Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense.
Jordan, I'm taking nothing away because I was impressed by the Giants game as well. But were you the Vikings to me were a little fraudulent throughout the season.
Yeah, we all knew that.
Yeah, how much of that was the Giants just really came out there and took it to them versus this team was kind of ripe for the taking too?
I think it was a good combination. Like the Giants are playing better than they have. I mean, there's really okay. Let's say even though it was against Minnesota, the Giants played some bad teams earlier in the year. They still weren't able to sling the ball around against those bad teams. They're able to do it now. I mean, Isaiah Hodgins wasn't even on the team before November, right? So they're just. I think it was a good combination of both. But I mean, still, you saw the Giants' defense is still not a great unit. They do a good job in the red zone, keeping teams out of the end zone, but they're 27th against the run. They're not great against the pass. They're middle of the pack. There are ways. I mean, Kirk Cousins was, I think the final numbers were 31 of 38. So you can still do damage against their defense. The key is scoring in the red zone. And guess what? Even with the Giants backups in that last meeting in Week 18, what couldn't the Eagles do? They couldn't score in the red zone. So that, to me, is a huge factor in this game. We'll see how the Eagles take advantage of that. Obviously, way different when Jalen Hurts can run the ball. He had one designed run in that game, and that was a QB sneak. Yeah. Right, for the 1 yard. He averages close to 7 per game this season. So that just shows you with the Jalen Hurts that the Giants saw in Week 18.
Hey, Jordan, what has gotten into Dexter Lawrence lately? We all know he's a great player, but that man's been on a mission the last few games. I mean, to the point where I saw a clip on Twitter earlier this week where he was telling the Vikings center, man, you hugged me more than my girlfriend does. I mean, I was like rolling on that. But, dude, he has been collapsing in the middle of that line like I haven't seen him do much of this season.
He's done it pretty much all year. The Giants made a change with Lawrence. Like, you saw it really. It started like hitting like 4 or 5 games into the season. He's playing nose tackle this year. He was playing more, 3 technique, 2 gap. Like, he wasn't lining up over the nose, the center and playing straight nose tackle. Okay. And this year he's done that, and he's just dominated. I mean, really, his pressure percentage is higher than Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, his pressure percentage for defensive tackles or nose tackle, forget it. If you want to go straight nose tackles, off the charts. And it's just been like this all year. He's been a force in the middle. He's top 5 in the NFL in quarterback pressures. I mean, it's mostly it's his athleticism, but also the power that he brings, which makes it a tough matchup for Jason Kelce, because you want to talk about Jason Kelce, great center, but his strength is what? Moving, getting out, using that speed. The straight power guy is going to be another real test for him. They've got phone down.
You okay?
Better than man down. At least you're all right. I thought you were going down there.
We're back in business here. We're back.
Okay.
We're back.
Okay.
No, but yeah.
Didn't skip a beat, man. You just kept going. I like it.
My phone has mud all over it, but I'm still going to keep going here and tell you Dexter Lawrence is the best player on the Giants defense, probably the best player on their entire team.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that's it is impressive. Jordan, do you take any? I forget the last game, Week 18. I don't. It doesn't matter anything for either team. But go back to Week 14, which wasn't that long ago. Are the Giants vastly different in your estimation from that team that the Eagles beat 48-22? How much can you glean from that game as you look at this matchup?
I think you basically almost have to throw that out the window. As I mentioned before, Adoree Jackson and Xavier McKinney did not play. Right. That's half their starting secondary right there. That's their number 1 cornerback. I mean, Daniel Jones and the passing offense is in a way different spot than they were at that time. I just think that the Giants are a better team than they were at that moment. And really, they haven't had their top 4, defensive linemen, if you count their outside linebackers, Thibodeau, Ojulari, Leonard Williams, and Dexter Lawrence together very much. And they played together more. Ojulari is still struggling to get on the field. I think he'll play in this game, but probably in a limited fashion. But still, to have those guys healthy and on the field together makes a difference for this team, because it lets them hide some of their deficiencies. One of the deficiencies, though, I still think exists, and that I watch out for in this game, Dallas Goedert could do some major damage against these linebackers.
Yeah,
the Giants linebackers in coverage, especially with that play action, they're going to be worried about the run. The Eagles ran for over 200 yards last time. He could have a huge game. Look what TJ Hawkinson did against him the last 2 times they played. If I'm the Eagles and I'm scheming, I'm saying Dallas Goedert is going to eat this game.
Wow. Jordan, one thing I said when it comes to Brian Daboll is this. I see a lot of similarities in how he runs this offense compared to what they did in Buffalo with lesser personnel. But he likes his gadget plays. He likes his plays of deception. How much do you think that can weigh into the overall game plan going into this game against this Eagles defense?
I think you should be expecting a lot of stuff from the Giants offense, a lot of new looks. Yeah. You saw them pull everything out of the bag against the Vikings, right? And it's almost like, oh, wait, we're going to save it for the bigger games down the stretch of the season. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. They had some very interesting and unique formations with Matt Breida and Saquon Barkley both on the field last week. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Maybe something with Gary Brightwell in there. So this Giants team, I think they're not holding anything back, and they're very game plan specific coaching staff. So I think that's what you're going to see again. They're going to say, okay, how can we take advantage of this Eagles defense? That's what we're going to do here. And with that, you're going to see them pull some unique stuff out of their playbook, stuff that maybe we haven't seen at any point this year.
Jordan, I think they've done an amazing job incorporating these guys, but in your estimate, and Hodgins was awesome and clutch last week. How legit are these guys? I mean, is this, between Slayton and James and Hodgins, like, what's the fear factor if you're an Eagles fan with these guys?
That's where when I start going over it, I'm like, well, Hodgins and James and Slayton can win consistently against the Vikings secondary because their secondary stinks. Like, it's terrible. It's as bad as they get in the NFL. Now you're like, all right, well, how's Hodgins and Slayton going to do? Now they got to go every play against guys like Bradbury and Slay. It's just much tougher sledding. I don't think you're going to see the same kind of success in regards to being able to pass the ball. That was the problem earlier this year. The Giants didn't think they could have consistent success, which makes me think in this game, when you look back, okay, they're going to go in there and the coaching staff's going to see that and say, well, are we really going to win consistently there? Probably not. What's the Eagles' maybe their biggest weakness on the defense? Stopping the run. Let's try and get a lot of Saquon in this game. And I think that's the Giants' path to victory. They only win if Saquon has a monster game.
Well, let me follow up on that real quick, Jordan. He didn't get he was very effective when he got the ball, but he didn't get a ton of carries last week. Was that by design? Is that just kind of the way the game played out? What was the reason?
I think that was the opponent. Like I said, they're very game plan specific, this coaching staff, in regards to, developing the game plan against the defense they're playing. And it was the same thing for Minnesota both times, is that they just went out there and they said their secondary stinks. We're going to sling the ball around against them, and they did. So I think it was more to that than like, okay, it just didn't work out. But I think, like I said, when they go in there this week and they see the Eagles secondary, they might come back with a very different game plan.
What's the best way for the Giants to go about their business to have a fighting chance against this Eagles team? A well-rested team that's getting pieces back. You look at how the Saints attacked this team on both sides of the ball, and they were successful. Do you see a similar game plan, just try to control the clock and keep that Eagles offense off the field?
Yeah, I do. I think that's like the Giants, they're not going to win a shootout with the Eagles.
Right.
Like they would have to have some defensive scorers, big special teams plays, something like that, which really hasn't been their thing this year. So I do. I think now they don't have the offensive line maybe to do that. So I think it'll be difficult. Whereas they'll have to do it a little differently, where, things like using Daniel Jones's legs to sort of open things up. But that's the Giants' MO, the 18-play drive, the 15-play drive, eat up the clock. So I think if they're going to make this close so they have a chance to win, they're going to have to do a lot of that against this Eagles team. Because let's be honest, talent-wise, they can't match up player for player.
Right.
I mean, Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert would all be the Giants' number one receiver.
Wow.
Jordan, I have perhaps the most critical piece of information for you right now.
Okay.
According to my sources, the Giants ordered chicken parm, margarita sausage, plain cheesesteak, and pepperoni with garlic nuts. Okay, this is a big deal.
I am going to get, and this is not anything to do with Philly because I do it most weeks, I'm going to have a slice of the cheesesteak pizza and probably go with the chicken parm and maybe throw in a garlic naan.
That's huge.
But let me tell you also, my New Year's resolution every year is to, eat healthier, get in better shape. That's a success because I was doing 3 slices on the reg. Now I'm only going 2. So progress.
2's hard. Like, I'm telling you, like 3 is a good number. You start getting into the 4 area, then you're pushing it a little bit. 2's tough. I'm still hungry after 2, man.
I know, but my gut is showing these days. It's showing it.
All right, see, the key is to get in there and get it when it's warm, because as you know, when that food starts getting a little cold, it's like it doesn't taste the same.
Now you're rubbing it in for me, because
why are you telling him that, Derek? Shh, come on, man. All right, last one. So you get in there and get something. So when maybe it's lukewarm at this point. You said off the top, you think it's going to be tight. Give me how you see this thing shaking out, Jordan, with the game.
I see the Giants playing a good first half, keeping it close. Maybe losing, 24-18 type of game. That's a weird number, but hey, what the heck? In the NFL these days, they score weird numbers. Something like that. But the Giants try and run the ball, but ultimately the Eagles, just too much firepower for me to see the Giants pulling this one out. I don't know. I mean, the Eagles would have to play a really poor game off the bye week, kind of. I think that'll help them. Jalen Hurts. I mean, you guys do think he's just going to run the ball normal, right? I mean,
I don't think there's going to be any restrictions.
We're past the point of any protection.
No limitations. Yeah, no limitations.
I mean, you can't half it now. I mean, you lose. You gotta win, man. There's no tomorrow.
3 games left. That's what you hope. I mean, that's it. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, Jordan. Listen, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for taking a couple minutes out in the nest. Go wipe the phone off and go get your pizza. All right.
Yeah, man. Hurry up. Have one for me.
Exactly. Right. Have a couple for Gunner. Yes, appreciate it, Jordan. Thanks, man. He's a good dude. Jordan, always good talking to him.
But you're right. Every time we have him on, there's always some weather issue.
It's craziness, right? He's a gamer. I'm telling you. He's got the umbrella in one hand, the phone in the other, and he's getting his grub on. Let's stay on that last point. I know there are some people that say, hey, be careful, with Jalen, et cetera. No way. Like, maybe if you're up 2 touchdowns and it's
right.
At the beginning of the 4th quarter, maybe I'm not doing any design runs and it's just going to be handoffs. That's different. But Derek, I can't take the chance early in a game where I'm not utilizing every possible weapon that I have. I'm sorry. No.
You have to make that opponent think that he is back to 100%. You have to make them think they're running the same repertoire of plays where they smoked us earlier in the season. You have to, and when you do that, that means the quarterback runs. And, every time he runs, you hold your breath. Please don't let it be the shoulder. Please don't let it be the shoulder. Jalen's a very smart quarterback. He's going to get down. He's going to protect himself. But Rob, as we've seen, and I've said this on the show, a quarterback that runs as much as he does, every now and then they take that unnecessary shot. It just happens. It's the nature of the beast. You hope it doesn't happen. But if the more he runs, the more it frustrates an opponent, and the angrier the opponent gets, and they're going to try to take that little extra shot, because he's frustrating the heck out of them. And hopefully that doesn't happen in this case. But you have to go out there and let this opponent know that, yes, he is back. Yes, we are running what we want to run, and you cannot stop it at this point. Until you show us you can stop it, we're not changing.
Yeah. I think I said this to you guys yesterday. I think Barrett wanted to dial up a deep shot, a la the TO days.
No, that was me. That was me.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said it there. I would run it, man. I would have Jalen on a design run and just say, hey, get used to it, because this is what this is going to be.
The first play of the game?
Yeah, there's no restrictions. Let's go.
I said I want to catch him off guard. It's in the back of the Giants' minds. This team ran for 253 yards on us.
Yes.
So I'm going RPO straight out of the gate, but I'm not giving it to Miles. I'm stepping back 7 yards and letting it fly. And just let it fly down the sideline.
Trust me, I wouldn't be complaining.
If AJ's open, if Devontae's open, one of you getting the ball, so get ready. Well, and we've seen AJ win those 50-50 balls. So
big time we have. Yeah, you're right about that. I will say this to you as well, Derek. I think my key, if I'm giving you like an absolute one thing key, and we'll do this deeper tomorrow, I get it, but it's the Eagles' offensive line picking up the blitz.
Yep.
The Eagles are a better run blocking team than they are a pass blocking team. Most teams are, but for the Eagles, it applies to the Eagles for sure. I think Jordan Mailata is way better against the run than the pass, but I think that's going to be the key here, because even though he didn't do it a ton last week, I think that you're going to see Wink Martindale send the house a lot. And the thing I would say, interestingly enough, the Giants, even though they did, and maybe part of this is they didn't send the blitz a lot, but their front four didn't get home last week. They didn't get a sack
No.
against the Vikings. So if the Eagles can protect and they're blitzing and you're getting one-on-ones with AJ and Devontae
on those
and
slant
or
routes, yes.
Goddard, that's where you kill them.
Absolutely. You know, we always talk about the Eagles using the run to set up the pass. This may very well be a game where they use the pass to set up the run. And I know people will start screaming, especially if they have incompletions early on. You know, but you know what? You got to attack them the best way you can. You've got to take their heart. Giants are coming in here on an emotional high, and rightfully so. You know, they knocked off the number 3 seed, even though it was a fraud 3 seed in a lot of ways. You went back into their house a couple of weeks after you lost that game, a hard-fought game you could have won, and you turned the tables on them, and you're still standing, and the Vikings are not. Now your next shot is taking down the number 1 team, arguably the best overall roster in the National Football League. So they're an emotional high. In a game of emotions, ebbs and flows and momentum, you have to take that thought away from them right away. You have to let them know it's going to be a long afternoon. By the 4th quarter, the Giants should be thinking, all right, what time is my tea time on Monday? You know, not, you know, they shouldn't be thinking, hey, we got a chance to win this thing. That's not what you want them thinking in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I mean, ideally, you're right. That you would just snuff that out right away. But I just, this is where I look to break down everything, and I look at quarterback. I'll take Jalen Hurts as much as Daniel Jones has improved. Offensive line, I'll take the Eagles. Skill position on offense, I'll take the Eagles at receiver and tight end, and it's not even close. It's destruction. Yeah. You know, the other side of the ball, I would definitely give the Eagles defensive line the lean, but it's not to say the Giants aren't really good. They're really good on their defensive line too. I think the Eagles linebackers are better, and I think the secondary is better as well. Like I just think,
hands down.
You know, and I think coaching is where you could really make an argument because Dable's done a great job and Martindale's legit. You know, and maybe you haven't seen things you've loved of late from Gannon and Steichen and whatnot. I think there you could maybe make an argument, but it's not like the Giants hold this huge advantage. I think it's close. I think it's like a coin toss.
No, I do too. I think that's why I said, Rob, earlier in the week, the chess moves that the coaching staff makes in this game are going to be huge. I mean, obviously we're watching the movement of the plays and the ebbs and flows of the game, but I'm watching also closely what they're calling, both teams, what they're calling down, distance, and things like that. That's going to be huge in terms of shifting momentum in your favor. The Eagles have the decisive personnel, but when you got a junkyard dog that didn't expect to be this at this point, you know what? You throw any and everything you can possibly throw at them. Nobody thought the Giants would be a playoff team at this point. You know, a lot of people did feel they could go back into Minnesota and upset the apple cart there, which they did. Yeah. All you have to do is have a fighting chance at this level. We could go back to Jacksonville. They were dead to rights. You know, they didn't have players with a lot of playoff experience. They were dead to rights. You're thinking that game's over at halftime. That's why they played the second half, man.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, I keep bringing this up. It's not to disrespect the Giants because I thought, like I said, it's really hard winning on the road in the playoffs.
Absolutely. But
that defense was beyond suspect that they did that against. And I just don't know that they're going to be able to do that against this Eagles defense. With the pressure. Derek, they were racking up 5-6 sacks every single week to close out the season.
Yes.
You know, they got 70 on the season in 17 games. That is unbelievably impressive. And
no question.
And you remember they really Hassan Reddick didn't go crazy early in the year until they kind of really figured out, just let him rush, man. Don't mess around with anything else. They're going to get heat on Daniel Jones. Here's the question. Does Jones get out of the pocket and kill them with his legs? That's really where this comes down to as well. Just containment of him. Discipline
is the key. Don't over pursue because, you know, he's not like most quarterbacks who just look to get down. He likes to lower his shoulder and take on a hit, you know, and he picks up extra yard. I mean, he's a big dude, 6'5", you know, and he's got some speed behind him. You know, we found that out a couple of years ago. He's got some wheels behind him as well. You don't want this dude running in open space on you all day because that's going to bring you out of a lot of things that you want to do defensively. It's going to make you make adjustments to counter for him, which could allow somebody else to free themselves up. No, you just have to be more disciplined in terms of keeping him in the corral and not allowing him to see that ray of light that he can go to his right or to his left or step up in the middle and take off on you, pick up 5, 6, 8, 12 yards of carry. You know, that's the last thing you want to see.
Well said. Well said. All right. Come back. We got a little fun with this, Derek. We're going to do over-unders in the game. Not just what Vegas is setting the over-under at in the game. We're talking individuals, i.e., Jalen Hurts rushing attempts, Jalen Hurts rushing yards, Jalen Hurts passing yards, Miles Sanders carries, Eagles sacks in the game, Daniel Jones passing yards, rushing yards, Saquon rushing yards. We're going to dive into all of them. I'll hit you with both teams when we come back. Don't go anywhere. At 1:30, Coach Marcus is going to be joining us, former Eagle. So we'll break down and get his take on what's going on with this game as well. Derek Gunn, Barrett's off today. I'm Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you right now about Pro Action Restoration. Yes, Pro Action Restoration are the people you go to, you call in trouble when you're in times of trouble here. And that could be water, fire, smoke, mold damage to a property that you may own, your home, a business, etc. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I can tell you from personal experience, I reached out to them on a Saturday. They got right over to my parents' house, cleaned up the problem, fixed it. All was well. Price was right. Crew was unbelievable. It was a great experience. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured, and they've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. And again, it could be water, it could be fire, it could be smoke damage, mold remediation. It could be a lot of other things. If you're not sure, you reach out to them and they'll tell you if they can help you. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or you could reach out online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.